second question is actually somebody that's responsible for mobile development in my organization, as a shareholder of RIM, and as somebody that's a big fan. I would love to hear a little bit more about your acquisition of Torch Mobile and where the Iris browser is going, some of the roadmap there.
Sure, Torch. Well, I mean, that's the WebKit browser. We have not announced whether there will be a WebKit browser in it and whether it'll be really soon or not, but we did buy the leading WebKit browser guys. So yeah, I think radically enhancing the browser experience one could probably go way out on a limb and guess that that's not too far away. And that's a really, really core thing. And I just got back from China. I was in Shanghai on Tuesday, and they had all the whole consumer type stuff, which is highly it's called the Joint Innovation Lab. Verizon in U.S., Voda CEO and Verizon CEO, and SoftBank CEO and China Mobile, and it's all about transformative, mainly consumer and multimedia services, and how do you have that WebKit browser, and how do you have digital rights of gaming and contextualizing. I didn't talk a lot more about contextualizing, but we have a developer conference in a couple weeks, and that comes out. So you have to quit now? You have to quit? Okay. Can we do 2 more questions, or you want to? So we'll do 2 more questions because the lady's behind you, and so that stuff. The consumer experience is going to radically transform, and the WebKit stuff and the browser stuff is a huge part of it, but you have to put it in the whole context. And so I talked about these contextualizers and these enablers, and I talked a lot more about B2B and B2C, but quite frankly, they're all coming together, and there's an enormous set of opportunities at play. But yes, a WebKit browser would be a very, very good idea, because we have to up the browser experience, and I wouldn't think that's a long way away. 2 more questions.
I'm Frederick Bien with Blink Media. I've been a fanatic BlackBerry user since 2000. Remember the days when there was no phone on the BlackBerry, and it was in fact a controversy whether they could have a phone and be useful. And by the way, my personal story is that my son thought I was using my BlackBerry too much, and he threw my 8700 in the toilet, and it still worked afterwards. I've been using it for 3 years. So. My question has to do, since we work with AT&T and had the chance to do some campaigns for BlackBerry, to ask you to share a bit your research that you do for consumer interfaces, and especially connecting the input of the device from a touch screen or a keyboard towards the type of use and web use in particular that young people do today, and connecting a bit to your slide about Facebook and social networks. Where do you think it's all going?
Yeah, well, that's a very, very good question. That's a big question because it really goes to design and UI. And the whole design experience is really a holistic thing. It's not just UI, it's technology, it's interface, it's application, it's packaging, it's business processes, it's partnerships. So you're consuming a holistic experience. And definitely UI is very important, but it's not just about touch, though we have very good touch products and a whole set with that. But I would say the UI is getting much richer, much more intuitive, and in a couple weeks you'll see a radically new platform enhancement for personal contextualization. So, picture a world where people have X number of apps, and you pick what X is, and then you sort of have to check each one, and they're all in their own world. Imagine having a person able to have that done by a carrier or by a partner by themselves, that it creates a very contextualized experience that you can, and in a very social B2B, B2C, or both kind of world. Not only in rendering, and we've announced widgets, so you can have alerted widgets and interrelationship of these kinds of things. And so that is absolutely where it's going. So I put that in the category of holistic and depth. not just I need another 10 or 20,000 apps, because it turns into work too quick if you just have a whole lot of things you got to look after. So that part of our world, I just say stay tuned. It's 2.5 weeks away, and there's a couple platform pieces in that, and you'll see how it's really changing what we do. And we've been beavering away on that for a couple years. And what happens in technology, people sort of hype the issue of the day, and you just have to beaver away on your strategies and let events unfold. Yes, ma'am, you're the final questioner.
Thank you. I'm Jean Creed-Javin. I'm host and executive producer of Bold Ventures Radio. We sure appreciate you being here. My question is, what is the riskiest business decision that you've ever made, and what were the results of that decision?
The riskiest business decision I ever made? Well, I guess I would put it this way. I don't know the answer to that question because I'm not really good at looking down or looking back. So I would say, to answer your question, that we are often overtrained to overestimate risk. We condition risk concerns a little too much in our life. And I had a prof who said that to me, and he said, go out and do something. And what's the worst thing that could happen? And I guess I would say the greatest risk in life is a life not lived fully. And so dare to bring all you've got, dare to believe in something and engage in it passionately. Don't do it for the outcomes. I drive one car, I got a 4-bedroom house, and I'm really very, very happy. And so I'm not in it for outcomes. I enjoy my philanthropy, I enjoy my family, but I would say take expectation out of what you do, take outcomes out of what you do, and focus on, the moment of engagement and the joy of the engagement and the sense of possibilities of all it could be. And you'll find that the illusion of risk just disappears. And come what may, really in 99.9% of these things, as long as you're driven by that integrity, what's the worst thing that could happen? And you find that it's really not very bad. And the only worst thing is a life not fully lived and a sense of possibilities not fully endeavored. And so that's kind of how I try to live every day. And I'm almost 50. I feel good. I travel. And I just don't worry. I decided I'm not going to worry about risk and worry about what could go wrong. I'll just, do what I can best every day and believe in what could happen and trust what's going to be. So, I don't think that way, because if I do, then I would go there. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I making any sense here? Am I rambling?